Alright guys, I promised I'd make a new video to replace the choppy video that everybody so much despised. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is disconnect my cables here. Power cable, data cable, kind of move those out of the way. And I do have two replacement fans for this XPS 410. Got a 92 millimeter fan, which will be right here. And then I have a ANTEC 120 millimeter fan, which will be here for the CPU fan. So we will start with the CPU fan. First thing you want to do is on the heat sink itself right here, there are two screws on the right and left side. You're going to go ahead and get your screwdriver. Go ahead and unscrew this. And on the other side here. Kind of wiggle it. Be careful though, because there is heatsink compound attached to the processor. You don't want to rip the processor off. Carefully pull that off, and we'll set that aside. Now you see the processor. We'll come back to that in a sec. So you have the fan exposed now. There's a little tab on the bottom here. Just kind of gonna press on that, lift it up, kind of wiggle the fan. It'll come loose. Careful to disconnect this ribbon cable. Just press in and pull up. All right, now here's the fun part. You have the stock fan. It almost looks, because of this side, that it's attached, but it's not really attached. What you have are four rubber fan mounts here. And all you want to do is, on this side, you're kind of going to push on the fan and push these fan mounts through. On the other side, you'll notice though, there's two plastic tabs. You want to go ahead and you're going to lift up. You're going to have to kind of lift up on those as you push, so it passes those. As you can see, it's holding the fan in place. Well, let's see if I could do this. So I'm going to push on the fan. I'm lifting up with my other finger there. There's one. You can see I pushed it through. Just kind of rotate. Oh, there's another. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. That one came off, and this one's going to be stubborn. There we go. All four of them are off. Now I'm going to flip it over, and you can see one of the clips is still holding the fan. I'm going to lift up on the clip, and voila. So two separate pieces. The fan's out. We're going to put this aside. Now on this fan, you can see those rubber mounts I was telling you about. What you want to do is just kind of pull them out. There's one. You might have to fiddle with it, like I said. Come on. Two. Three. Four. All right, so you got four of these. These are out. I got those out now. I'm going to grab the other fan. Here's the new 120 millimeter fan. Now I know from previous experience that the label faces out is where the fan blows the air. The intake is on the back side without the label. So what we're going to do is take our four little fan mounts here, and we're going to put them on the new fan where the actual screw holes would go. Now the trick to this is, if you can see, there's a long side and a short side. And for this one, we are going to put the long side towards the case. As I was saying, you want to put the long end towards the case. Get these in here. Sometimes it's a little tricky to pop them in. There we go. There's one. Put this other one in here. Two. 3. And 4. So you got the 4 rubber fan mounts. By the way, these are actually new. I bought new ones off eBay for like $3 because the old ones were really worn and 2 of them just broke when I took them off. I had a feeling because they've been in there dang near 10 years, so it's expected. Anyhow, now you're going to get the mount, shroud, whatever you want to call this, and you're actually going to you're going to face these little standoffs, whatever you want to call these, towards the 4 little holes, making sure that you put your cables through. And just like before, you're going to want to watch the little clips here. Alright, I got that in there. Now some of you might be saying, hey, that looks backwards. Well, actually, when you mount this, you're going to have to flip it around. It's going to be like this. So anyhow, now that I've turned it, I'm just kind of going to line up the holes, as you could see, and I'm going to just pull the 4 little standoffs through the hole, like so. And by the way, this piece right here is just an adjustable speed for the fan. Came with the fan. So now, I'm going to put the fan down and line it up. So if I can get it in here. There we go. That's in. Now I already have a couple 280mm fans, which I've shown off in other videos, in the back. And I'm actually going to, so with that said, I have MOLEX connectors already. Here's the MOLEX connector, or I guess you can call it an adapter, because there is a 3-pin, but I'm not going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. Alright, so we're good there. Now before I put the heatsink back on, I'm actually going to take, I actually have a couple Zebra cleaning kits here. All they are is alcohol swabs. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to come down here and try to clean up this heatsink compound. Because it's a good rule of thumb, you never want to put back on the heatsink with old compound. So I'm going to do the same thing here. You can see that one's on there. I'll clean it up off camera here for a sec. It's pretty clean. And now we're going to take some good old trusty Arctic Silver 5, and we're going to just put a tiny bit on the processor. And I'm just going to use a piece of this little plastic here and spread it evenly over the processor. You only need a really thin layer of this stuff. A little goes a long way. That's looking good. Alright, now I'm going to take my heatsink, making sure that fan adjustment's out of the way, and I'm going to put this right back on. And the cables are not getting pinched. Some of you might think they're getting pinched. They're not. I've done this a few times before on other systems. It's fine. Alright, let's go ahead and screw this back in now. side. All right, that's good. Now we will move on to this second one here. They call this a case fan, which hardly blows enough to be a case fan in my opinion, but hey, that's what Dell wants to call it. So I'm just going to lift up on the tab and slide this one out. Be careful of any other cables. This one's a little more tricky. And disconnect the cable again. You can see the 4 standoffs, same kind of deal. This one's more of a, I'm going to pull on it, pull on the side, and push these through. There's 2. Three. And 4. And the fan just comes right out. This fan I'm not even going to reuse again by rule. Do I have more clips? No, I'll need to take these off. So, like I showed you before, I'm just going to pull these 4 fan mounts, rubber fan mounts. So I got 4 of them. The old fan, I'll just set that aside. And we got our new fan. I said label facing me was where the air comes in, so I'm going to take a look at how this is set up. Alright, so obviously we want the fan sitting like this in there. So I'm going to need to put my mounts right here. Right in the front. And I'm sorry if some of this is off camera. I'm doing my best here. There's 2. 3. 4. So I've pushed the 4 rubber fan mounts through. The long ends are usually what goes through the hole. That way these little, you can see these little pieces here, there's little grooves. That's what goes through the plastic mount, whatever you call that. Alright, so let's push this through. You can see where I'm pushing the cables through in case you guys are wondering. I'm just going to try to maneuver it through the hole here. Alright, so that's going in. I'll line it up, turn it around so you can see. Sometimes it doesn't always go as planned. One of them is not lining up in the hole. There we go. So I pull 1, 2, 3, 4. Pulling on it, basically what it's doing is you're locking it in that little groove I showed you earlier. So now I got my new fan. I'll go ahead and put this back down. Put that little cable out of the way. Kind of got a feel for it. There we go, locked in place. I'll take off this, how it's wrapped up. just run this over here. Connect it over here with all the other fans. Come on. All right, so now we got our fans on, switched out. Put the cover back on here. Actually, I'm sorry, not the cover, not yet. Reconnect my drive here. It's just my storage drive. There's a solid state, that's the primary. You can run the cables however you want. This is my garage computer now, so it's not utterly important to me. All right, there we go. Let's get this case back on. Perfect. Actually, you know what? Let's leave it on for a sec. I'll power it on so you guys can see. Oh yeah, very nice. See if I could put something. You can see very strong airflow. Real strong. Working good. And the only thing I will mention after putting aftermarket fans in is because you disconnected the stock fans, the Dell systems don't seem to like the aftermarket fans. It'll throw up an error in the post screen and say warning, you know, fan not detected or something. All you have to do is hit F1 to continue. The computer works fine. So that's pretty much it. Just to recap, we changed out the CPU fan. This is a 120 millimeter fan. The case fan, the little one over here, it is a 92 millimeter fan. I thought it was an 80. I ordered an 80 and it wasn't. It's 92. And then on the rear, I'll actually take my phone off the mount here, kind of show you. Those are the two 80 millimeter fans. They sit right next to each other in the rear. Those are exhaust fans, putting out a good amount of air. So I got two exhausts, the 92 millimeter fan down there, and a good old 120 millimeter in here, exhausting air through the back. So thank you guys for watching, much appreciated, and I hope this new video helped.